Nothing Worthwhile, the recognized symbol of excellence in crappy podcasting.
I'm Evan Moody.
I'm Andrew Gruthius.
And you're listening to Nothing Worthwhile
with Moody and Groo.
And now, Vince McMahon.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the greatest sports entertainment spectacular of all time. Welcome to Wrestlemania.
Night one of WrestleMania is in the books. What did Moody and Groo get right? What did they get wrong? Who had their hands raised in victory? And who took the pinfall in defeat? Is Ronda Rousey your new SmackDown Women's Champion? Did Stone Cold KO? All of this and more, live from Dallas, Texas. It's Nothing Worthwhile, reaction to WrestleMania Night 1. Oh, hell yeah! Here's Evan Moody and Andrew Gruthius.
Oh, hell yeah! The Texas Rattlesnake returning in 19 long years back into a WWE ring, back to WrestleMania for extended physicality. Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, plus an old name returns back to a WWE ring to go up against Seth Rollins. Thank you, Andrew Gruthius. What about SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte-Flair versus Ronda Rousey? So much more. We are live in Dallas, Texas. Nothing Worthwhile. Let's bring them right in. Andrew Gruthius. Before we get to the specific matches, just want to get your overall thoughts. Dallas, Texas, and AT&T Stadium.
Good morning. I really can't. My voice is gone. So this podcast is going to be I'm asking everybody to hang in there. Yeah. I'm just kidding. Dallas. Never actually, I've sort of been here, but never actually been in this area before. I'm digging it. I mean, we haven't really seen as much as we would have liked to. You know, we're just busy with Mania stuff. What was the question?
Well, I think clearly Dallas, Texas needs to step up their late night fast food.
Oh my God. I'm still reeling. I had a Will Smith moment last night. Oh boy.
After WrestleMania Night 1, with the map quest in the car kind of getting lost all over in Dallas, we finally tried to make our way to a McDonald's. I don't know what time it was, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
I don't think it was even that late. It was probably around midnight, maybe a little bit later.
Let me accentuate the story, damn it.
All right, okay.
So we pull up to a McDonald's in the Jack in the Box. The McDonald's line is looping around the restaurant. So we go to Jack in the Box.
Which has like one car.
Yeah. And then we pull up to the microphone to put in our order, and there's paper sign taped to the microphone saying, "We're not accepting credit cards. We're accepting cash and exact change only. We can't even give you change." And the girl repeats this, and she screams into the microphone, "I just want to let you know that we're not taking credit cards and we're only exact cash." And Andy goes, "Why the hell are you yelling at me?"
Wait. Let's back up a little bit.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, but unless I saw it, you dialed it down a little bit. Because we pull up and the signs are there, and say, okay, we can handle that. So before I can, and I'm driving, so before I can get a word out, I'm not going to do it here because we're in a hotel room and it will probably break the sound system here. But she's literally yelling at us. She's like, we don't have breakfast. We don't have this. We can't do this. We can't do that. Like, blah, 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 like literally, like really angry. And I just lost it. And I said, who the hell are you to speak to me like that? Like, what the hell's the matter with you? Go fuck yourself. And I literally just drove off. I was really, really pissed. I was like, I mean, just say, we don't have this, we can't do this. Is that okay? No problem.
Well, it was unfortunate, but I'm looking at my phone, and Jack in the Box has released a statement saying they are revoking Andrew Gruthis' membership in the Jack in
the Box
Hall of
Academy.
Fame.
Jack in the Box Academy. My membership to Jack in the Box has been revoked.
You will no longer be allowed to vote on the Sausage Supreme.
I did not.
Let me
I did
get my
not
joke
allow
out.
them. All right, go ahead.
All right, go ahead. It's
No,
all right.
I was just going to say, I didn't. They didn't kick me out. I resigned before they could kick me out.
I was really legitimately looking forward to my number 29, the sourdough egg and cheese sandwich, but nonetheless, we ended up at a 7-Eleven where we were asked if we had the munchies and wanted to. And I told Andy, hurry up, get your stuff, and let's get the hell out of here to the safety of our hotel.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, we don't have Jack in the Box in Florida.
We have them in Arizona.
So this was my chance.
Maybe we'll find another one with full change.
Well, at least WrestleMania next year is in L.A., and I know they have Jack in the Box out there. So,
speaking of WrestleMania, what did you think of just overall AT&T Stadium access, just the physical layout of the stadium? Modern amenities. What did you think of
10
AT&T?
out of 10.
It was pretty good.
It's a beautiful, beautiful, comfortable, fun stadium. Access easy. Look, people traffic is always going to be a thing, but we found a good parking lot, and we took a nice walk over there, and we didn't have to wait 19 hours to get into the stadium.
I thought so too. I thought getting in and getting out for a 77,000 attended event wasn't too bad. I mean, the traffic wasn't that bad. They must have had a lot of access or whatever it was,
and even getting out afterwards, we walked to the parking lot, but once we got in the car, we just pulled right out of the lot, right onto the highway. We were great. It was very simple.
I will have to admit, I did not enjoy our neighbors in our section where we sat.
Oh God,
they were drinking and just.
Were they even drinking?
Yeah,
or were they just assholes?
Yeah, maybe both, but
yeah. Look, you always got to put up with people who forget that there are other people around. Like they were just like look,
I'm here to announce I hate people. I really like about just 15 people, and part of that's my family, so I have to like them no matter what. Next year I just want to get a private suite.
Yes,
I'm just going to break the bank.
Yes, I do have a question though, because you and I when we talk, even on here, we use foul language when appropriate. We're not gratuitous about it. So yesterday, we're sitting watching this thing, and these people behind us, every other word is like, yeah, kick his fucking ass, dude, this fucking and we're in public, and that bothered me. It distracted me. Like, why must you? Number one, there are some kids around.
I agree.
Like, why do you have to? Who are you showing off for? The girls, the 300-pound girl who was sitting next to me,
who was way too drunk,
who was drinking through the hole in her nose with the fucking where the ring was supposed to be. I really that. It was truly annoying.
Yeah,
it was, and they weren't even supposed to be there. We'll get into that later.
Well, I hope. I don't even want to get into it. I hope they're not back there. I hope they're not back there.
Agreed.
This goes overall to experiences when you go to the movies, you go to concerts. It's just people don't know generally how to behave. You get older, and maybe when I was their age, maybe I acted a little bit fool. I don't think I ever did that, but
me neither.
I'm always cognizant of kids, and I'm always trying to watch my language, because if I was a parent and I brought a young kid to WrestleMania, I wouldn't want some butthole sitting behind me or next to me, drinking, reeking of alcohol, weed, whatever it is, and constantly using profanity. And maybe I'm getting old, but that's how I feel the same way too. You you got to. People just are so insulated and insular. They don't think about the people around them, and we had a bunch of old ladies sitting next to us. It took them time to get through the aisle. We were both gracious, stood up, helped them. Lady was on a cane, helped her through. I mean, people are just not that way anymore.
We're heroes.
That's
We're
right.
heroes. We are heroes for the not for the millennials. For what's our Generation X?
I don't even know. And I don't even care. By the way, because of that, Jack in the Box said they are back instilling your membership to the Jack in the Box Academy.
Nice.
Thank you. All right.
Nice.
Let's
go there for breakfast.
Let's go to WrestleMania Saturday. WrestleMania
Yes.
Night 1 opened up with Brantley Gilbert singing. I don't know what he sang because it was so
We couldn't
it was
hear.
so low the audio. I think it was America the Beautiful.
It was America the Beautiful. I don't think the audio was low. I think he was singing low because I heard the guitars. He had two other guitarists with him. I heard the music, but he was singing, "Oh, beautiful."
Is that because it maybe couldn't hit a range or something?
More spacious. I'm like, do you realize there are 77,000 people like trying to listen to you? Like, it was very, I was like, where's Ray Charles? Where's Aretha Franklin? Like,
It definitely the
belted out, man.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
It had a nice guitar solo, but it definitely did not get the crowd as amped up as it usually does. However, very surprisingly, the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders came out and did a whole routine.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
I thought so too. I mean, that was for many different reasons.
Yeah.
That was great. That was a nice surprise. Right up WWE's alley, taking the local, and that's not the only thing they did with it. I mean, for us, seeing it being, 100 yards away from the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, I mean, that was worth the price of admission for us by itself, but, they do the local thing sometimes. Like they had the marching band, I think, from a high school.
Yes.
And
it was from a local college.
Yeah, and they had a chorus later. So I actually think it's really cool when they do that, when they adapt to their surroundings.
Agreed, and nobody does it better than the WWE.
That's right.
Nobody does it better
100%.
from the WWE.
100%.
As Andrew said to me, been to Super Bowls and WrestleManias. WrestleManias are a lot more fun.
But not even close.
All right, let's get to it. Opening match of Smack. Excuse me.
Is that
opening,
a picture of Jesus on your computer?
That's a picture of The Rock from the Tooth Fairy.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God.
A student gave that to me.
That is awesome. By the way, everybody, this is like one of our, I guess this is our annual, like, in-person show. Like, this is the first time in almost a year that we've been in the same room doing
we did November.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. We did November. Yeah, a couple
But yes,
times a
these
year.
are the exception to the rule. We
These
are not
the
bi-coastal.
exceptions to the rule. We are
sitting-
not a bi-coastal podcast
We are
today.
sitting across
We
from each
are
other.
middle America, or middle. We're meeting in the middle of the country.
We're sitting at our mid-level hotel room, mid-level
This
guys.
is a nice hotel.
I'm playing. It's beautiful.
But we're like, he came from the west, I came from the east, and we are right here in the middle in Dallas,
smack
Texas.
dab in the middle. All right, let's get to it. Opening match for WrestleMania Saturday was a SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. The champions, the Usos, against Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. Before we get to it, Groo, were you surprised at the opening match placement, Nakamura and Boogs versus the Usos?
I can't say I'm surprised because it's not really about surprising. I disagree with the placement. We talked about that. We felt that. What did we say? That the cool thing to do would have been like to open with the Rollins mystery.
I thought so.
And I agree with you on that. But that said, like, you never know how they're going to do it. You just know what the last thing is going to be usually. So no, it wasn't a surprise. And maybe they did it because they do have that really incredible entrance for Nakamura and Boogs and McAfee at the announcing table. If I'm in the back, I'm thinking that's a nice hype way to get the crowd going.
Well, the crowd certainly ate up Nakamura and Boogs' entrance.
Yes.
Usos defeat Nakamura and Boogs. The match ran a little bit short. Apparently, Rick Boogs had a legitimate injury. Usos walk out SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Andrew, what are your thoughts?
Well, it was a good match for the 5 minutes it lasted before Boogs made that. I think he was trying for a spot the double lift, and
Yes.
he just couldn't get it up. I mean, couldn't get them up. I was thinking of myself for a second.
Well, Boogs is known for these strength spots. I mean, he's definitely a power lifter. So he was trying to get both guys on it, both Usos on his back for like a fireman's carry, and his left knee crumbled.
Just
gave out. And at the time, it looked like perhaps it was storyline, but then it looked like they had legitimate EMT personnel or medical personnel, and they were carrying him out towards the side.
Well, we were sitting, where we were sitting on, if you're looking at the stage, we were sitting on the right side of the stage, and we could see him being taken behind the stage, which led me to believe that it was a legit, like if it was storyline, they would have walked him out, I think, through the stage, through the entrance. But we could clearly see that they were taking him behind. So I think it was a legitimate injury, mostly because it really killed the match.
Do you think that this was perhaps an audible, or do you think the Usos were penned to win the match all along?
That's a great question, and I don't know how to answer it. I have to think that the Usos were, because this has happened before, where
guys got hurt.
Yeah, guys got hurt. Like the most notorious example is one that I think you and I were at, where Stone Cold and Owen Hart, and Stone Cold could barely move, yet somehow he still managed to pin Owen Hart. So I think that the Usos were probably still booked to win, which would put us both at 0-1 for the night immediately.
That's right.
But it's disappointing because it started off as a really good match. But I can't. It's tough to review it because shit happens. So it's tough to register an opinion about the quality of the match when we really didn't get the full story. You know what I mean?
All right, Andrew, if you could be concise, the next calendar year, what do you see for the Usos and what do you see for Nakamura and Rick Boogs?
I see Nakamura and Rick. Well, a lot of it depends on the extent of Boogs' injury. I believe it's a torn quad, and he needs surgery. That being said, that ends my knowledge of how this is going to work. I don't know how long that takes, but let's say injury aside, if he's good to go, I would say they're going to continue with this because I do think that the Usos are going to. I think they're going to go their separate ways sooner rather than later. I think
separate ways as a tag team or separate ways from Roman?
Either or. I just think they have singles careers that they could do pretty well in. So I think there's some unfinished business with Nakamura and Boogs. I think I'd love to see them take the titles from the Usos and then move the Usos in another direction.
If it's a legitimate injury, I think Nakamura, unfortunately, is back to mid-card slog. He'll have his weeks where he gets pumped up, and then they'll push him back. I actually think the Usos need to stay attacked. I think they need to see this bloodline thing straight through to next year's WrestleMania. That's how I see it.
Maybe.
All right, let's go to the next match. Drew McIntyre defeating Happy Corbin. Madcap Moss coming out with Happy Corbin. Match number 2 of the evening. Andrew, thoughts?
It was a good match. I'm not a huge fan of Happy Corbin. I'm not a huge fan of Drew McIntyre either.
You've made that clear. Yes.
Not that I dislike them. I see them. I look at Drew McIntyre and I see the same Drew McIntyre that I've seen for the last 5-6 years. I haven't seen him evolve in any way. All right, he brings a sword now, but it's not. There's I think he's in need of a gimmick change. This man against the world face thing is not really working for him anymore, in my opinion. That being said, the match was pretty good, violent. Happy Corbin did a good job. Drew did a good job. But as we can see by our predictions, it was predictable. I picked Drew. Moody picked Drew. So Moody and Groo picked Drew and are
1-1.
1-1. But yeah, I did like the match. But I was happy when it was over. What about you?
I was surprised that the fans were Drew McIntyre, the fans were pretty into it. Certainly in our section, there was, and we maybe because we did have a lot of foreigners, but Drew McIntyre was certainly a lot of people were definitely in tune with McIntyre. I mean, I agree. The match was very, very good, and I think both guys are kind of maybe a little bit running in neutral. If I'm looking at where do they go the next calendar year with Happy Corbin, I think they have a good gimmick with Happy Corbin, but I think they got to nuance it a little bit. They got to get rid of just this, stupid jokes and hysterical laughing. They can make it dark, a la Joker. There's a lot of can make him a wealthy social media type. There's a lot of, obviously they're sort of angling that perhaps him and Madcap Moss are going to break up. That I think will be good because I think it'll push Madcap Moss a little bit to the forefront, who won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. McIntyre, just I know you're not a fan, but I think he's going to be in the main event picture throughout the calendar year, certainly as fodder when it's quiet, October, November, when the big pay-per-views hit, perhaps they'll bring somebody else in, but he'll be in the main event. I don't see any avenue where he's not in the main event picture for the next calendar year.
Yeah, I don't dislike Drew.
What do you want? Do you want Drew to cut his hair and?
Really? I think he's in need of some kind of change because he hasn't really evolved. Like look at what. Well, we'll get to it, but look at what Seth Rollins has done with like he's on his like 6th kind of mini run over the last like 7 or 8, 9 years. And he keeps getting better, and he keeps reinventing himself for the current story that he's doing.
Keeps it a little bit fresh.
Yes, that's what I'd like to see more from Drew. Like Happy Corbin, he's kind of doing the same thing. He keeps changing and he's evolving. I'd like to see Corbin try a face run at this level now. What do you think?
As you said in the last podcast, fans do not seem to like Happy Corbin. But I think he's a valuable member of the roster. I think they see him now as a solid mid-card guy. And I think, again, when I look at Happy Corbin on the SmackDown side, I see a little bit of Miz. I see a guy who could wrestle a lot of different types of matches, doesn't get hurt.
Right.
And, always seems to do pretty well in the ring. And so I think he's a valuable member of the roster. But he's stuck in mid card fodder right now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of not getting hurt, the WWE and all their prognosticating, they went out and signed Jacob deGrom to a 3-year contract. So
what is going on with Jacob? Is he hurt?
He's hurt again.
Oh Lord, baseball players are so effing brittle. I can't stand them anymore.
It's amazing.
Please, sport.
But I'll give that. I would give that match. I'm not. Do you want to rate matches at all?
I just want to get your reaction.
Okay.
Just want to get your reaction.
All right.
Let's go. Speaking of The Miz, the next match of the evening was The Miz and Logan Paul defeating Rey and Dominic Mysterio. Andrew is a big Miz mark. Let's throw it to Mr. Gruthius. What'd you think of the match?
I am Miz Marquee.
There you go.
See that? This actually is my. Do you want to do? Well, all right. I just gave it away. This is my pick as the match of the night because it's
really.
Here's the reason. Even though there were a bunch of botched moments, because you have 2 guys in there, one on each side, who are still very far away from being like really good in the ring, meaning Logan Paul and Dominic Mysterio. Rey and Miz are the seasoned veterans there. But this match kept surprising us from the beginning to the end. That's why I liked it so much. It was never boring.
You know what surprised me?
What?
Dominic was wearing literally, I don't know what he was, looked like he was wearing tight pajamas and his belly rolls.
Yeah, he looked like he was going to like a student government convention in Orlando or something like that.
Just reacting to what you said, I don't think, when I say botches, we've been watching wrestling our whole life. Things were just a little bit off.
Yeah.
Nobody totally screwed the pooch and missed a move, but a dive, somebody moved just a nanosecond. Some of the stuff.
The timing was off. The timing was off. And
I did think for the most part, Logan Paul was pretty darn good in the ring.
His both psychologically and physically.
Oh yeah,
he really was. This was not a celebrity. This was not what Johnny Knoxville probably will be tonight.
Agreed.
He was going for it, and as Bruce Pritchard would say, they told the story from beginning to end.
So let's focus on Logan Paul for real quick.
Yeah.
And looking at the next calendar year, he is a celebrity,
Yes.
big-time names, got a lot of things going. But it seems like, based on the match, he may be here for a while. What do you think?
Well, I truly enjoyed that ending, meaning the end when Miz turned on him.
That's right.
If only because it was a shock. The way they've built up that partnership and the way the Miz has just sold the hell out of it for him to, like, it's a total Ric Flair type thing. And that's what I love about the Miz. And Logan Paul sold the hell out of it. He legitimately looked bewildered and like he had this WTF look on his face. And it was great. And I was glad that Miz and Logan won the match. That's who I called. You called the Mysterios.
I thought we were going to get the feel-good dad and son moment, and we didn't. And probably looking back on it, I should have known better, because the WWE, they don't really show a lot of love to Rey Mysterio. As you said, he's 15 years past his prime, and I think he's a guy that they see now as a big name, mid-card. He could still wrestle a good match, and he could still do some of the high-flying stuff. Not, obviously not like what he did back when he was, 25 years old, but
they still, I guess, in wrestling terms, they still booked them kind of strong. Dominic got some. I mean, even though his timing was off, like we said, he still got some great spots.
Sure,
he got the crowd. The crowd was 100% with them.
They
was
did a
not
big
dead.
double frog splash spot on Logan Paul.
So they booked them strong, so they still come out looking good, because at the end they shifted the story away from the Mysterios to Miz and Logan. And I thought that was very, very well done.
Just looking back on it, if there's any criticism, and this is all just real small stuff, Logan Paul is really hated. Perhaps maybe, flipping it around. I think the way they did this here, probably Logan Paul might go away for a little bit, do his own whatever he's doing, and come back maybe around Survivor Series or one of the big pay-per-views, SummerSlam, and perhaps you get the big Miz-Logan Paul match. I really was, for the most part, pretty impressed with Logan Paul. A couple of things.
Too.
Number one, he's a big boy.
Yes.
He looks like a WWE wrestler. I mean, I think he's pretty muscular. Perhaps they could pump him up with creatine or whatever, and he get a little bit bigger. But he's a big boy. He can handle himself in the ring.
Absolutely.
He's athletic. I thought overall the match, again, a couple of missed little things here and there, but I thought the match was entertaining and delivered.
I mean, I could sort of say that about, we'll get into it, but the crowd was never dead last night, was it?
No. I mean, look.
I never heard any boring chants.
No, definitely not. They opened their doors at 4:30. I mean, what time did we end? 11:30. I mean, it was a long day.
We were there for a while.
It's a long day, which for 2 nights.
But where do you see, if Logan Paul's going to disappear? Let's say that happens. Where do you see Miz going? Are they going to continue this Mysterios thing, or is that put to bed at this point?
I think Miz is always the Miz, and he'll be a super heel. And I think he'll give you a nice upper mid card level feud until they deem him, whether it's to get into the main event picture, to hold over a championship or whatever it is. He's just very versatile. So I think right now, look, they just did the whole Evil documentary about him, and he's been a face before.
Yes.
But
they wouldn't give him that kind of time unless they're committed to long term stuff.
No, of course. But I think he's going to be one of your major heels on Monday Night Raw,
and I'm thrilled with that.
And he will be at the upper level of the card.
Yeah, and he does as good of a job as anybody with that role, I think.
Yeah. Then the guy from the Road Rules high-fived him, who was sitting in the front.
That was cool.
That was cool.
Like Miz knows how to work a crowd, man. This dude is good.
He is good. Andrew, the next match on the card, Raw Women's Championship, Bianca Belair defeated the champ, Big Time Becky Lynch. New champion, 2-time Bianca Belair. Andrew, throw it to you. What did you think of the Raw Women's Championship? Bianca Belair, your new champ.
I really enjoyed the match.
It was a good match.
And I'm, my my criticisms of the women's division. Just
all right,
the
misogyny aside.
No. It's not misogyny.
Aside.
It's the type of wrestling that they do. This move. This was entertaining to me. This was a fight, and Becky's new look and style. I love it. I thought I actually found myself kind of rooting for her at certain points because I really enjoyed this new whatever. Can you call it a gimmick? Whatever it is, it works. I'm glad the match turned out the way it was because now I'm looking forward to see big time Bex. They're getting rid of the man thing. I guess
it's been gone for a while.
Oh, has it? Okay.
Yeah.
So it looks like she's moving in a really solid direction. And I think these two could have, even though the title should stay on somebody for a while, I'm in agreement with you about that. We miss the days where we have these long reigning champs.
Well, Becky did have the belt from SummerSlam, so she had a good 6+ months.
She did, but I think it's going to go back and forth a little bit for a while, maybe between these two. But Bianca did a great job. I love the quit. I didn't say it to you during the match because I didn't want you to slap me.
Oh, stop.
But there were times when it reminded me not the super quality of the match, but the style of the match reminded me a little bit of a Savage Steamboat with the quick pins and the speed of the match. So it was really exciting and fun to watch, and we really didn't know who was going to win. It was very unpredictable. Even though we predicted correctly, I think we kind of went with our hearts over our brains, but we called it right.
Okay, so to the Savage Steamboat, I mean, you can't top Savage Steamboat.
Of course not.
But I do see somewhat the comparison. I really like both ladies. For Bianca Belair, she's really just like that all-American white meat babyface, inspirational. And for now, it works for her. I mean, I think obviously 2-3 years from now they're gonna have to change her up. I mean, fans are gonna get tired of that. Wave to the crowd. She's got her. She's a very traditional white meat baby face. I mean, I said it on the last podcast. I think Becky Lynch has done the best work of her career since she came back. Money on the microphone. She's money in the ring. Love the whole cyberpunk Blade Runner kind of look in the ring. And I mean, it was kind of clear where they were going with this. They wanted to tell the story of getting revenge on the quick pin at SummerSlam. And I think the next calendar year, those two will be at the top. I mean, obviously in October, you'll probably have a draft, and maybe you'll see Becky Lynch to SmackDown, where I think ultimately her future lies with Ronda Rousey, perhaps in L.A. I think, the only one, I mean, Rhea Ripley is probably going to find her way in the main event scene on the Raw women's side as well. But I thought the two put on a great match. And that final KOD, she yoked her up and she kicked those legs out pretty hard. Yep. And so, match was enjoyable. No complaints from me there.
Were we saying that it might have run a little bit too long?
I could put that criticism on a lot of WWE matches.
Yes.
Because there's so many kickouts, and they're fun to see, don't get me wrong, but after a while, I'm a jaded, I've been a wrestling fan my whole life, so we're going almost 40 years, 40 years plus of watching wrestling. But as we were commiserating, I think after night one, all these kickouts and all it. Sometimes I think in life, less is more. Let the fans leave wanting more. Instead,
right.
The WWE wants to put on these spectacles and kickouts and run-ins and ref bumps, and sometimes I think they overthink it a bit too much. And yes, I do think that the match ran just a little bit too long, but comparative to one or two other matches, the criticism is mild at best.
Yeah, but 7 matches shouldn't take 7 hours.
No, it shouldn't. Good point. Okay, here's we're going to dig into this one next. I'm going to be interested to hear Andrew's overall thoughts. We haven't really discussed it much, but Seth Rollins comes to the ring. He was promised a match by Vince McMahon. And who is his opponent? 6 years he's been gone to AEW. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes returns to defeat Seth Rollins. Andrew Gruthius, we knew it was coming, sort of. Then we heard rumors. Perhaps he wasn't, and he's coming. Let's hear it. Overall, Cody Rhodes defeats Seth Rollins.
The match itself got off to a slow start. I think there was some
feeling.
Yeah. The chemistry wasn't quite there. As the match went on, it got much, much better, and by the end, it really worked. The crowd wasn't dead, but they didn't know quite how to react. They felt, I think it goes back to what you were saying yesterday. We were talking about how would we have made this introduction, and I think they missed an opportunity there.
So do I.
We felt that it would have been like Seth in the ring, and then Vince comes out and literally introduces Cody Rhodes, and then you play the music, and then you do so the crowd can get that pop because they just played the music, and you got to remember, you and I have never watched a minute of AEW, or at least I haven't, and you've never said anything. So
no, I don't really watch it.
So I'd never heard that song before, and you are looking for a stone cold glass breaking moment there, where the second they hear it, the crowd pops. But it took a while. It wasn't until, and a lot of people didn't even know that he was called the American Nightmare. So I think they screwed that up a little bit. But once they saw that it was Cody, the volume started going up. He goes to the ring, and then it took a little while for the match to get going. But Rollins is an absolute stud as far as ability to do anything. And he and Cody, when they finally got into their groove, they made it into something very well. The match was well booked. The finish was fine. We called it both for Cody, and we got it right. And I always love it when we get it right. Could have been better, but it does what it needs to do, because I'm very excited to see Cody on Raw on Monday. So,
yeah, if I was fantasy booking, first of all, I would have gotten rid of the extended entrance for Rollins.
Yes.
I would have just, welcome to WrestleMania, right into his music, storm into the ring. You promised me a match, and
if I can interrupt you for 1 second, you said that, and I agree with you, that we held off on this. They should have opened the show with this.
I agree.
That's,
I think about the one Mania where they opened with Brock versus Seth, a complete surprise. When Hulk Hogan was doing his host shtick, and as he's walking back, out comes Paul Heyman, completely unannounced. We're like, whoa, what a way to start Mania, caught our attention. So, and I think there is where you play it out. There's where you get the pageantry. You bring out, you make people wait, you tease it, you extend it to 2-3 minutes, have Vince come out, maybe talk a little bit of trash, and, I think you could have gotten perhaps a even bigger reaction. I agree everything about the match. They kind of heated up as they went along. I'm really hoping Cody's successful. I'm not a huge fan of his finishing move, this Crossroads. It's kind of like a spinning DDT kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of high impact.
They need to work on that.
But nonetheless, he's a big name, and I wish him well. I'm a little skeptical. I wish him well. I hope he has a long WWE. I think it was important for the WWE to sign a big name from AEW and a rival company, and he is certainly that big name. We caught a little bit of a podcast interview on the way home. He certainly seems eager and very excited to be back in the WWE. So we got it right. I hope big things for Cody Rhodes. We will see. Certainly that Raw is going to be a big one, because he did say on the interview, I'm saving some thoughts. And I think you give him a mic, that's where it could really kick in and hopefully get some
Because the guy
momentum.
asked him, what was his name? Was the podcast guy
David
name?
Shoemaker, the
David
ringer.
Shoemaker, yeah. He asked him, what about all the things that you said, or the things that, like the
Bashing
when you
the
left,
WWE.
like when you left, and he's like, I know you're the scoops guy, but I got to save that because I'm going to be talking about that on Monday. Which I was like, all right, here we go.
And if the WWE is smart,
they'll let him go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
They got to let him just speak his mind.
Yep.
All right, Andrew. Before we get to the next match,
we're doing pretty well here.
Yeah. Hall of Fame procession. The Steiner brothers, Queen Charmel, the widow and son of Vader, and of course the Undertaker.
And the Warrior Award.
Shad Gaspard,
yeah.
His wife and son. I don't know if you saw the Hall of Fame. You might have been in travel.
I haven't seen it yet.
But what did you think of the procession and the Hall of Fame class? Any quick thoughts on
Perfect.
Hall of
It was
Fame?
exactly what they usually are. And the Undertaker's, the headliner, he comes out. He just did what he does. He came out and went to both sides. Looked at it was goosebumpy. It was really cool. I mean, listen, look at us. We were there, not in person, but we were watching live when The Undertaker first arrived in the WWF at Survivor Series as the mystery partner of $1 Million Man.
Right.
And we were at the Wrestlemania where he was introduced as the Hall of Fame. Like, I feel like we have bookended his career. 30 years we've been in this so long. And I just felt really good for him. I loved he didn't say a word. He's just soaking it in. It was really, really cool.
We also saw what we
enjoyed it.
thought was his first retirement, where he took off his boots. And
and
his
left him in the
gear,
ring.
Left him in the ring versus Roman and Orlando.
Yes, I think it was Orlando.
Camping World Stadium.
Yes, and
What
then
a
he went
horrible
and
name.
started making out with Michelle McCool in the front row. And,
Hey, I would.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, procession. What did you think of it? Same.
Yeah, I mean, I watched most of the Hall of Fame.
No, I meant the processional.
It's great. It's great. It was great. The Hall of Fame itself was a little bit critical. The Steiners, they didn't really deliver.
Well, Scott did. Rick didn't really get his chance, from what you said.
Yeah, I would have done it differently. I won't extend it too much, but I think I would have given the Undertaker a full night, given him 90 minutes, do production. I would have made it just in a separate show. I think it would have been. I think the WWE could have gotten fans in the arena on another night, sell out, and just done a whole 90 minutes, different speakers, different video packages, and give the Undertaker a mic.
What if? Now follow me here. What if they had done, and this could be something for next year, depending on who the headliner is. What if they did everybody else after Raw, and then did the Undertaker after SmackDown by himself? Would that have worked?
I wouldn't do it that way.
Why? Does that diminish the others?
Yes.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
I wouldn't do it, but...
So then if you're going to do that, then you just have to say, all right, this year we're only inducting one person. Otherwise, you got to give them all their time.
What they did do was they cut the overall class. It was 4 people. They've done 7, 8.
That's true.
So maybe that's the better way to do it. You give
That's true.
Give us 4.
Right.
All right, Andrew, an interesting match, perhaps a tad bit controversial. SmackDown Women's Championship. Charlotte-Flair retains versus Ronda-Rousey. Andrew, what were your thoughts? Weird.
I'll tell you what I loved about this match, and I think I've mentioned it before when I talked about the Bianca Belair match. These two fought a wrestling match, the kind of wrestling match that I like.
Hard hitting.
Ronda and Charlotte went at it psychologically and physically, and it was fun to watch. It wasn't perfect, but very few matches are. And I like the quick pins and the frustrations. The only problem with it, and you'll agree, was the ending. The ending was like the like the same ending you see for each Rocky movie in a way, or whatever. I mean, even though I love those, but movies are different than something that's masquerading as real life. So this was just like out of a 1984 playbook, and it just did not work. It's just where we'll find out is where they take it, and why they decided to do it that way, and if it was planned that way. You asked me if I thought it was called on the fly. My opinion is that it wasn't, because it was too organized.
Is it too much at stake at Mania to call something on the fly? Like, I mean, here's the thing. If Ronda Rousey was booked to win, they got the earpiece in the referee's ear. Somehow Ronda's winning. I mean, I don't I'm just asking you. Like, I don't. Do you think the WWE at WrestleMania would be like, we screwed the ending. Keep it on Charlotte. Like have Vince on the.
Well, this was a referee, a seasoned veteran, so he knew what he was doing.
It's funny you mentioned 1984 because when I saw the ref bump and the schmazzy pin, I'm like, this is so 1989. And so when you said 84, I was shaking my head because. Well, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this on the grandest stage of them all?
Yeah, and we said to each other, so like, who booked that? Like, who's sitting there saying, you know what? Let's do the ending that we've done 800,000 times. For the, it just doesn't seem.
Are they trying to book Ronda as the unbeatable force? So anytime she takes a pin, it's got to be some kind of.
Well, I guess that's how they save face. That's what they do with triple threat matches, so the champion doesn't have to take the pin. And I guess that's what they call booking strong to make it look, whatever.
I don't like it.
Right. They could be way more creative than they were with that.
I mean, if we both picked Ronda, I think it ultimately might have been a mistake. I'm not a huge Ronda guy. I'm a big Charlotte fan.
Me too.
Maybe it would have been good to take it off her, cool her down a little bit, and let Ronda get the spotlight. But are they? You're talking about 2 WrestleManias now where Ronda has lost in very sort of nebulous, strange.
What was the what?
She took the pin at Mania 35 in the women's triple threat from Becky Lynch. She took the backslide, and she said it looks like she got her shoulder up, but they hit the 3 count. So,
do you think this had? Do you think
are they booking her as now like she's got even more of a bigger chip on her shoulder?
I hope so, because she's good at it, and I know that's what she wants. Maybe that's the missing ingredient here, because you've been saying how she doesn't really seem that into it. And so I'm thinking either they booked Charlotte to keep the title because Ronda might not stay around because she's not into it, or remember, as I said yesterday, when she first came back, she was trying to be heelish. And the next time she came out, which was like the night later, then she was like slapping the crowd and everything. I think she wants to be the baddest woman on the planet, and faces are not those type of. She should be the dirtiest player in the game, or she should go in that direction. I would love to see her just maul people.
Where does the WWE go with Charlotte Flair the next calendar year?
I think she's going to stay the champion. Because she is the best that they've got.
She sure is.
By far. And I think that, they're building, I guess we're hearing they're trying to build Ronda versus Becky, but that's not the marquee matchup right now.
Well, not right now, but we got a year to get there.
But I see Charlotte continuing to reign supreme over that women's division.
Listening to your logic, will you not be interested in seeing a heel Ronda versus a heel Becky? 2 trash talkers, 2 women who are not afraid to go there at WrestleMania next year.
1,000,000%. With the performances that they all gave last night, especially, even though, to take nothing away from Bianca Belair, she did a terrific job. But even though she's the champ, I don't see her quite yet on the level of those other 3.
Oh, well, she's young. She just came up from NXT 2 years ago.
So, but I see in those other 3, in the new Becky, and Ronda and Charlotte, the type of wrestling that I like. Fights. And yes, I would love to see a triple threat.
Well, first of all, the women's division is actually pretty darn strong because you have hopefully a returning Bayley. Mm-hmm. You got Sasha Banks, who's in a tag team gimmick, which is not really benefiting her. They're cooling her down right now, so she'll be in the main event picture. You got Bayley, and you got an impending return of Asuka. You got a lot of strong women at the top.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the women's division will die tonight. No, I think this 8-woman tag team thing is like a dumpster fire.
No, it is, but we're not going to cover. We'll cover night 2 later, but I think I still see Rhea and Liv Morgan as the ladies coming in with the most momentum.
Right.
All right. So Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey.
Okay.
Definitely interesting match, and Charlotte Flair walks out continuing to be your SmackDown Women's Champion. All right, the final match of the evening starts off as the Kevin Owens show. Kevin Owens tells Stone Cold Steve Austin, returning Stone Cold Steve Austin in 19 years, he was lying to him. He wants a match right now, a no-holds-bar match. Stone Cold says yes. Did they deliver? 19 years, the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Dallas, Texas, WrestleMania. Andrew Gruthius, throw it to you. What are your thoughts?
Did they deliver? The key word being they. The answer is yes. Yes and yes. Because, and I give most of the credit to Kevin Owens. He's incredible. He's incredible on the mic. He did exactly what he needed to do with the setup and the execution. He made Stone Cold look really good. They took some massive bumps that I would not have expected.
Agreed.
Did Stone Cold show that he was a lot slower than he was 19 years ago? Absolutely. But it was still a fight, a brawl, punches and kicks, and never a dull moment. They went into the crowd. He did the couple of suplexes on the floor. This was 10 times more than we thought we would get. The crowd popped like hell for Stone Cold, and he did I just felt good being there. Like it was like it just took us back to so many other moments that we've had, and I just felt really good at seeing this, seeing Stone Cold come back one more time. 19 years later, he said it. He's like, I had my first match in Dallas, and I might very well have my last match in Dallas tonight. And I feel really good being there. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Should he wrestle again? Absolutely not. He did exactly what he needed to do. He's good to go. I was beyond pleased with how it went. You're laughing at me.
You made a Rocky analogy. That's what I thought. I went. Yeah. I got up a little early, went to the gym this morning, and I was thinking about the Stone. I thought about Rocky. Like, I knew it was coming. I'm a little bit skeptical, but I stood up and cheered anyway, and I enjoyed it. When I take a step back, he looked all of the 19 years older. And listen, I know you'll probably disagree with me. I loved it. Did it accentuate his legacy? No. Did it tarnish it? No.
No.
Was I surprised at the length? Yes. Was I surprised at the physicality? Yes.
Well, you made an excellent point right there. Wait, hold on. You made an excellent point right there, and I want to jump on it because I agree with it. It didn't do anything to move his legacy. It didn't do anything to hurt his legacy. And I don't think it was supposed to. I think it was supposed to be a Hogan must pose moment. I think that's what it was supposed to be, and that's what it was. We both said, there was going to be no match, so we were wrong on that. Okay.
Well, we knew there was going to be physicality.
Right. But we said no match. We said there's going to be a war of words, stunners all around, nostalgia. Those are the words that I have on here.
Yes.
And that's all. And that's what we got.
Okay.
And more. We got more than what we expected.
Damn it! Just like David Shoemaker, you convinced me.
Yes. Yeah.
I want Stone Cold back at the main event of Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. No.
But I don't want them to go any further with it.
Yeah.
I want this to put Kevin Owens from where he was to higher. So he needs to be in the main event.
So here's the big question. Is he going to get there?
He better fucking get there. What's his path though? His path actually
his path would be if I'm Vince McMahon, his path to me is he is the best talker in the game right now.
Yeah.
Okay. What holds him back, obviously, I think, and I'm sorry if I'm being a little bit shallow, is his physical appearance. He's a heavy-set dude. He doesn't look like a typical WWE body type. However, this dude is effing money on the mic, and I agree with Andrew. I mean, to come out there 19 years later and to sit down and spar with a guy who's pretty darn good on the mic, too, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, sold out 77,000. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. And
this dude just went out there with no sweat and delivered and knew every line to get under the people's skin and knew just how to needle. And if you noticed, Andrew, he does what good wrestlers do in these storylines, in these moments, what I call roller coaster. He apologized.
Yeah.
The crowd. So now, as a fan, you're a little bit softened. Your body posture, you relax a little bit. And then he digs back into Stone Cold. He calls him a son of a bitch in Texas, and then the fans get riled up again. And so, yes, walking out of that final match, I've said I have a big time appreciation for Kevin Owens. I'm hopeful he gets there, but I'm way, way skeptical because of prior booking. He's been served up to Goldberg. He's been served up to Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he doesn't look like a typical WWE superstar. And I think that they want guys that can take their shirt off and muscular. And I think that's going to hold them back a little bit. But I really hope, because this guy really can deliver on the microphone. And that's how you generate interest and momentum. Sure, we always love great matches and spots. But if the psychology's not there and if you're not invested in it, it's just a spot. It's just a spot. So I hope they give Kevin Owens a chance to really be at the top of the card, but I'm a bit skeptical.
So am I, but for all the reasons that you said. But if I'm fantasy booking this, I am.
Where does Kevin Owens go from here? He did a great job on the mic, but he just got squashed by a 57-year-old Stone Cold Steve Austin, which he's a Hall of Famer. Ain't too bad, but where do you go there?
Here's the good part about it. Everybody's talking about Stone Cold. Nobody's talking about Kevin Owens, which is good because he lost. So he will turn this into a win for him, which is a perfect heel move. He'll come out. He's on Raw, right?
Yes.
I still get confused. He'll come out. He'll do a KO show, and he will talk like he beat the shit out of Stone Cold. That's a classic heel move, and I love it. If I'm booking it, I'm booking him against the loser of Brock Roman, because the winner is obviously, if they go where we think they're going, the winner is going towards next year's WrestleMania. So let's say Roman wins. I think we both picked Roman to win.
Yes.
So let's say Roman wins. Roman is going in his own direction. I would immediately, if Brock is staying around, I would love to see a Brock Kevin Owens feud. It
would certainly be hard hitting. I think if I'm booking Kevin Owens, I'm not going to talk about who he'll fight against, but I think you get the KO show. The only thing I would do perhaps just a bit differently is to say I had him for a KO show, and he came out and surprised me and wanted to know. Oh, wait, no. I'm wrong. Because Kevin Owens was the one that put down the challenge for the no-hold-bars match. So,
right, yeah.
So, yeah, I would probably say, I would accentuate that I kicked the shit out of Stone Cold Steve Austin. You got lucky, stunners, blah, 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 blah. But it'll be very interesting to see where they go with Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
And perhaps on Raw, besides the main event, I'm most interested to see where they go with Kevin Owens.
Yep.
Like, I'm curious with, obviously, Roman and Brock, but the number two thing on my mind is where are they going to go with Kevin Owens?
So, night one, and I know you'll get to the final things, but night one seems to have more questions than answers, which is a good thing, right?
I agree. Let's take a step back. What was your overall thoughts on WrestleMania Saturday? Let's do an A to F grade. What would you give the grade for WrestleMania Saturday night one? Listen to that breath.
Yeah.
Nose hairs.
I think I'm going to say a B plus. I was going to go with an A minus, and the reason that I was going to go with an A minus is only because of and it's not their fault. The first match, the botch there, even though it's not a botch, it's just an unfortunate situation. The matches did go on too long. They didn't have to. So I think I'm going to stick with B+, but there is no match that I can look at and say that was a clunker. It was a really, really, really good WrestleMania Night 1. I really enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. We were into every match. There was no point where I never took a bathroom break for unless I absolutely had to go. It wasn't like, you know what, I don't want to watch this match. I'm going to go get a hot dog or something.
Well, I did
You know?
because I'm Jewish and I have OCD and I have to pee 500
Well,
times. However, I did drink a beer at the
Yes,
show,
yes.
and held it in until the final.
And I will say this: I've known you a long time. You take long bathroom breaks. These were not long. You went out sometimes if we're at a concert together and whatever. Like sometimes you go to the bathroom and you're gone for a little while, and I'm like, where is he? I want him to see this. I want him to see this. You were right back in there.
Well, that was Bon Jovi, and I had some of that spicy sushi.
They just announced a new tour. We got to talk about that.
All right,
but that's, to me, that's all part of this thing. Like, we were into it. We were looking at everything. We were like, look at that. What's that? Look at that car down there. We're like, and the crowd was into it. The crowd was hot. It wasn't the greatest crowd of all time. I've seen better, but I've seen a lot worse. And it's got momentum going into night 2 and momentum going into Raw already built in. So I would consider it a big success.
Yeah, I had high expectations going into WrestleMania Saturday. I will give it a B.
Okay.
I think it ran a little bit too long, or in some instances a lot too long. I mean, the gates open at 4:30. The pre-show started at 6:30. When was the opening bell? 7 Dallas time?
The pre-show actually started at 5:30 our time, because Eastern time it started at 6:30. Show, I believe, started at 8 or 8:30 Eastern time. For us, it was 7:30. So, but there were no matches on the pre-show.
I understand. It's just the night was long, from 4:30 to 11:30, basically. Yes, there were no clunkers. A couple of matches were not completely clean. Crowd was into it for the most part, but there was a couple of semi-quiet spots. I definitely felt like they delivered. It was not a stinker. I have not read even anything online, so yeah, I'll give it a B. And I'm definitely curious to see where they're going to go with some of the storylines moving forward. And if anything, really, really excited for tonight and to see where they go with WrestleMania Sunday.
And you know what? I'm going to stick with B+, and I will say that it would probably move up to an A if it didn't have that.
I don't know about an A night.
If it didn't have that, if Charlotte Ronda ending was booked better, I might give it an A-. But that's going to keep it at a B+.
All right.
But still, with the way the WWE is, they're at the top of the food chain of wrestling promotions, so they're also going to be the most criticized. And I don't know if there's a whole lot to criticize right now on night 1. I mean, we've just done it. What else could somebody come up with? What else could somebody say? What could we say if we were legitimately trying to nitpick every negative thing, and we were told by our podcast sponsor, no matter what you think about WrestleMania, you have to spin it that it was a bad show. Could we do it?
Well, we could, because wrestling fans are complete a-holes. The internet wrestling community loves to...
Oh, yeah, and what about that dick on ESPN last night?
Stan Verrett?
Yeah, he did it twice. You didn't see the second one. I don't know where you went. Maybe you were in the bathroom. At the end of their SportsCenter show, he kept arguing with his female co-host. He's like, "It's not real. It's not real." She's like, "It is real. It is real." It's not. He's just being a complete douche.
Yeah. By the way, Stan Verrett, you were my loser of the night.
Yeah.
We put on ESPN SportsCenter after Mania in our hotel room, and ESPN had a reporter live with Lita, and they were doing an ESPN wrap-up. Nice publicity for WWE, and of course, Stan Verrett introducing the segment has to announce that it's fake. Well, like, okay, dude.
Yeah,
thank you.
Like what an asshole.
Yeah,
you are an asshole for doing that.
I hate Stan Verrett worse than the Jack in the Box girl.
You know what? I'll go with that too. I'll go with that too, because like you said, the Jack in the Box girl was probably a kid. She was probably overwhelmed. It was probably her first night of work.
There you go. Now you're making progress.
Yeah. Well,
progress.
It's the morning after. I've had my medication. I'm doing. But that really. And then, like I said, you didn't see that second one, or maybe you had fallen asleep.
Melatonin.
But but yeah, just they signed off, and he was being such a douche, but such an arrogant douche. Like, it's not real. It's not real. Like, you know what's not real? Your fucking career, asshole.
Well,
That's
you know
what's
what
not
I want
real.
to say as we wrap it up? It's still real to me,
Yes,
damn it.
and we are wearing the shirts. We will definitely take pictures of us. We've got the his and his. It's still real to me, damn it, shirts in different colors. It's still real to me, black and white. It's still real to me, red and white. Shades of the old NWO faction split. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm really excited for night 2. Should we add predictions? You know, a match was added to the card after our last show. Bobby Lashley and Omos.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Do we
I want lunch already. Damn it. Let's go. Let's.
So do I.
We had our pre-production meeting. You didn't bring
Yeah.
this up. All right, real quick.
I did bring it up.
Ah, Lord. Omos versus Bobby Lashley. Let's throw it to you first. Where do you see it going?
I see Bobby Lashley winning. I think because this was booked really quickly, which tells me that they are not that happy with Omos. That's what that tells me. I could be completely wrong, but I think if I'm looking at Omos and I'm looking at a guy, yeah, he's big, but he needs a lot of work. And here he is fighting at WrestleMania Night 2 against a former champion making his return. You can't put Lashley to lose here. So I'm calling Lashley, and after that I see, well, we'll save the what happens to for tomorrow night or for tonight or whenever we do our recap to see who wins and how, that's what we'll do.
This is a tough one because Omos has got major momentum going into this, and
I don't see it. I really don't.
What do you mean? He's on a squash match every Raw.
But he's not getting the reactions, and he's not. And
that says Andy Gruthius. I mean,
no. I mean from the crowd, I don't see the specter of it that I should. You disagree?
Initially, I'm thinking Omos is going into this with momentum, and I was going to pick Omos, but I'm going to go with Lashley because I did hear something on the Ringer podcast, which I believe is true about the WWE, and this is just simply how they book. They don't book giant champions.
Right. Yeah.
And usually giant wrestlers don't win in big spots. I mean, Big Show did pick up a couple of big wins, but we know Big Show took a lot of big-time losses with the WWE. Actually, I hate to say it, I'm a fan of Bobby Lashley, but I don't really care about this match simply because they didn't.
Right,
no
build.
They didn't build it. So it's the same thing with the New Day and Ridge Holland and Sheamus. There's really minimal build, so I don't care.
I would put the match that we forgot to talk about, that match that was cut, even though we don't care about it, and that's not a nice thing to say, but they should probably, just to give them a payday or just to not say fuck you to their face, they should probably put them on the pre-show just to get that match in tonight.
Yeah, who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck?
Well, yeah. Yeah, but I kind of feel bad for a guy like Kofi who has been to the top and didn't get to stay there very long, but he's been around for so long, and he's got this match at WrestleMania that's cut in favor of, people who we could, even though the show was excellent. So I guess that's why they are who they are and we are who we are. But if I'm Kofi, I'm like, you're cutting me for Johnny Knoxville. You're cutting me for.
All right, so this is night 1 reaction.
No, I know. Well, all right, okay, fair enough.
I don't feel that bad for Kofi. He's had, I'm sure he's been well compensated, and sometimes it happens. Matches are cut for time.
Yeah, no, he's. I read his reactions on Twitter, and he was a complete pro, which he's always been. So I respect the hell out of that. But I do feel a little bad for him.
All right, well,
and Xavier Woods, and a very entertaining guy.
I feel bad for those guys, but I feel worse for the Jack in the Box.
So do I. You know what? You're going to make me drive over to Jack in the Box and apologize for cursing. I didn't really curse her out, did I? What did I say?
I don't even remember, but you were clearly very angry.
I was just like, why are you screaming at me? Like, that. All right. Why relive it?
Why relive it? All right, Andrew.
Shambo's mom.
Andrew
none of you know what that means except Evan, then we'll keep it that way.
WrestleMania Saturday, Andrew B+, Moody B. What will be our grades for WrestleMania Sunday? We will be back at AT&T Stadium at 4:30 p.m. to see what the WWE will deliver for us. Night 2, AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. Until then, Andrew, do you want to take us out?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we had a great time.
Sure did.
We feel that we're representing you guys, and that's why we're doing this.
We are the common man.
We are not here for our own edification. We are here because we represent the nothing worthwhile universe.
We're common people, the son of a lawyer and the son of a family metal.
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back tonight or tomorrow, depending on how late the show goes. And it's been a pleasure, and we can't wait to see you again at our next Nothing Worthwhile recap of WrestleMania 38, Dallas, Texas, the most stupendous Nothing Worthwhile of all time, tonight/tomorrow. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, 1, 2, 3, wrap 'em!